Hello, everyone. What started out as a normal school day ended in death for 19 children.
Motor vehicle accident involving a bus.
You see them there and then they disappear.
Like, that's it. I lost my friends.
I don't think the community of Alton ever wanted to be known for a bus accident.
Then why am I here?
I remember the loss of that day.
This did happen, and it happened to our kids at Mission High School.
The question, of course, is what exactly happened at 7:40 this morning when the bus fell into that leaky pit?
Hello and welcome to Remembering the 21. I'm Marco Ramirez. It was 35 years ago when one of the worst school bus accidents in Texas state history took the lives of 21 junior high and high school students, and it happened here in Alton, Texas. I'm standing along the intersection of Bryan Road and 5 Mile Line, where it was here on September 21st, 1989, where a Dr. Pepper truck ran a stop sign and hit a Mission CISD school bus packed with students, causing it to fall into a caliche pit full of water. With the bus completely submerged, it became a living nightmare for those students on board as they scrambled to get out. This all happening while parents and school staff watched helplessly as first responders try to rescue everyone. During this special report, we will be taking an in-depth look at this tragedy. We'll hear from some survivors and those who were the first on the scene. We'll also look over the litigation that followed this crash and how school bus safety has changed because of this. Now, here in the very spot I'm standing in, a memorial now remains to remember the 21 young lives that were lost. The caliche pit's located right behind this, and it's now surrounded by fencing and guardrails. And while it's been 35 years for the entire Alton community and those who survived that bus accident, it seems just like yesterday.
Buenos dias, Cynthia. Buenos dias, Alex. Buenos dias, Virginia.
It was a Thursday. So it was towards the end of the school week, and everybody's looking forward to, you know, the weekend and looking forward to Football Friday, and so it just was very busy.
Good morning, Roman. Buenos dias.
Kids loud, everybody yelling, screaming, tirando papeles at each other, airplanes, you know, that kind of stuff.
Pauline, buenos dias. Buenos dias, Carmen. Good morning.
I had kind of my shoulders to the window, but, you know, we talk and I'd look this way out the window and, you know, just chit chat, look out the window, and my best friend was sitting in front of me.
At the end of the route, once we picked up the last set of kids, immediately after that is when the accident happened.
All of a sudden you feel these, like a skid. We're like, what the hell? I freaked out, hey, ¿qué onda? Hey, what's happening? What's happening? He's braking because he's noticing the Dr. Pepper truck.
It just seemed like it was coming really fast. And I actually said it, you know, to myself. Well, I actually said it out loud. I said, that truck's not going to stop.
I don't remember whether I heard something or not, but I realized that we were not facing the right direction.
He passed us, hits us, boom. The fishtails hits the bus like this, and we're going straight like this on Conway. It was directions straight like the Dukes of Hazzard, and it's a caliche pit, but there's no guardrails, no fence. You're in the wire, you're gonna go down. We didn't know that there was water.
You saw the sky, you saw the wall of the pit, and then you saw the water, and then you just saw nothing.
I realized that I was underwater, and it was really dark, it was murky, and it seemed like the seats were floating, the bus seats were floating in the water.
So everybody's scrambling to get up to the other windows, and those windows have latches, and if you don't snap it and hold it, it's gonna lock on you, ta, 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 you know? So we're doing all that, I grab it, fras, I grab my sister, I'm the guarda, because that was a nickname. Guarda, Bruce, so I grab her, right, boom. I pull her up, right, she gets it, by the time she's up like that, the water's already coming up towards me.
And I just heard somebody calling me, Gorda, Gorda, and I sounded like in a distance, like far, far away, and I was like, I'm dead. You know, I'm you know, and I felt like I opened my eyes. I don't know if I opened my eyes, but I felt like I did, and it was just white. And then I saw a hand extend out to me, and I thought, I'm going with God.
I just thought I wasn't gonna make it anymore. And I started to pray. And then I also started to try to breathe air from my hands. I did that twice, and I drank a lot of water. I took in a lot of water. So eventually I didn't think I was gonna make it. So like I said my prayers. I thanked God for the life that I'd had, and I surrendered at that moment. And almost instantaneously, my neighbor pulled me out by pulling me from my hair through the window.
So I grabbed myself and I pulled myself out, and then I grabbed whoever's coming up next, right? Boom, we pull him, and then we're running, trying to snap open the window. You see faces on the windows, you know, like trying to get out. So we're holding our hands like this to go, or move this way, get on this one. You're not counting how many people you're taking out. You're trying to get everybody as fast as you can, because you see them coming out, breathing, throwing up, falling. You see them there, and then they disappear. That's the one that got me.
You know, you could hear sirens and everything. You could see people throwing down hoses, water hoses, and, you know, stuff like that, and just people crying, yelling.
At some point, I got tired and just decided that I wasn't gonna wait for them to come for me. And even though I didn't know how to swim, I thought that I could make it from the bus to the edge of the pit where the wall meets the pit. And I just threw myself in the water and I swam over there and made my way to the edge.
The families are coming. You hear the mothers, they're crying. Junta, Michelle, junta, you know, it's chaos. And you can't. I mean, you don't wake up thinking, I'm gonna save people today, I'm gonna be in an accident today. It's something that you don't expect. You know, I mean, nobody ever expects to wake up and to be in an accident and to see your friends die.
I honestly never thought in my wildest dreams that anybody was gonna die. I mean, then why am I here? I just thought, no, that's not true, that's not true.
Hello, everyone. What started out as a normal school day ended in death for 19 children. A school bus loaded with teenagers plunged into a caliche pit filled with water. Passers-by jumped into the murky water to try and save those helpless students. This is the worst school bus accident in Texas history. The big question, of course, is what exactly happened at 7:40 this morning when the bus fell into that caliche pit?
81 students were on board Mission CISD's bus number 6. At 7:34 a.m., bus 6 was traveling west off a 5-mile line after picking up the last of its students. At the same time, a Dr. Pepper truck owned by the Valley Coca-Cola Bottling Company was being driven by Ruben Perez. Perez had just completed his first delivery at a Circle K near that intersection and was traveling north on Bryan Road. As both vehicles approached the intersection, the Dr. Pepper truck hit the school bus after not slowing down for the stop sign. The truck hit the left side of the bus, which caused it to veer off the road and plunge 24 feet into the caliche pit. The bus lied on its side in 10 feet of water, trapping the students inside. By 7:40, the first officer from Alton Police arrived on the scene and was soon joined by other police officers. The Alton Fire Department, the Lago County Sheriff's Office, and numerous other agencies from across the valley joined to help rescue the students who were trapped inside. Some students managed to get out of the bus on their own and try to free others. 19 students died on the scene. 2 others died 8 days later, bringing the total death count to 21. For the students who managed to survive the horrible ordeal, it left them forever traumatized.
When I was doing my homework, I started crying. Everything that I'm doing, I always say to the clouds and say, why God? Someday we'll just forget what happened.
But no matter how hard everyone wanted to forget that day, that never happened, especially for those who were the first ones on the scene. We spoke to some first responders on what they saw that day.
I just remember scanning the whole area and thinking, this is not happening, this is not true.
Sadly, it happened there.
That morning, walking out the door, getting ready to go to shift that day,
that morning. You know, it's a regular day, Thursday, and walking through the gym.
It started off early. I was actually off duty.
I could hear the phone ringing in my office over and over.
I heard the radio broadcast of a school bus accident.
Alton 214.
Go ahead.
You need to proceed to Main Street and Bryan Road for a motor vehicle accident involving a bus possibly occupied by juveniles.
My unit that had responded to that call had requested that I go assist them. So I knew it was something big.
My ears popped open and my eyes opened up.
Finally got to the office and picked up the phone, and someone just yelled from there that they needed all the coaches that were certified in CPR to get to the 5 Mile Line in Bryan Road, that there had been a bus accident.
I go directly in my personal vehicle to the scene, and what do we see is that Dr. Pepper truck on the side of the road, and then the bus plummeted into the caliche pit.
You know, and looked down, and I just froze when I saw the bus.
Laying on its side, probably in about 6 to 8 feet of water.
You could see the yellow or the color. I could see Mission, CISD on it, the side.
Just seeing the upper skin of the bus, or the side of the skin of the bus, was horrific. They were going through the windows of the bus and extracting them through those windows and either having them sitting or standing on the side of the bus.
We also were separating the more severe or seriously injured from those that were not.
There was a little air launch area up on the west side of that caliche pit that we were able to put some boats in there and retrieve some of the students.
They had already pulled out a couple of bodies because I saw 2 that were covered, and a priest was with them.
Mothers were crying, there was a lot of yelling, you know, tensions were high.
I remember the chaos of that day. I remember the loss of that day, and that is something I'll never forget.
I had one of my students come up to me and said, "Coach, my little sister, we can't find her. She's not on the list that she's making. She's not on the list that she went to the hospital. I've got to go down there. My mom needs to know. We need to know." I saw him come back up, and I knew he found his sister. It was a Thursday, so Friday night football, that was all postponed. And here we're at the McAllen Stadium, and Cito Ochoa, who was our announcer, they allowed him to have a moment, you know, to recognize these kids. He did, and each one of the football booster club members was holding a balloon about the size of a beach ball. They were huge balloons, and they were white. As they called the name, they released the balloon. It's just pretty amazing, because they didn't fly off, you know. They kind of just hovered around, and they went through all 21 names, and they kind of hovered around and got to the middle, over the 50-yard line within the stadium, and then they all just, you know, went off together.
I don't think the community of Alton ever wanted to be known for a bus accident. Sadly, it happened there.
Some of those students that were involved in that school bus made something of themselves. And I think that is important, that they didn't allow that to impact them. They looked forward instead of looking back. And I think it was good for the community.
For those that did not survive, they are in our hearts, and there's plenty of people that remember them.
This did happen, and it happened to our kids at Mission High School. And, you know, the whole community, not only the city of Mission, but the whole Rio Grande Valley.
Coming up after the crash came the lawsuits, and the man who drove the Dr. Pepper truck now facing 21 counts of negligent homicide. What the jury decided his fate after hearing his arguments, that's after the break.
For Investigates. If you have concerns about fraud and corruption, send your tips to our investigation hotline. For Investigates, keeping you safe, holding people accountable.
Something monumental, covering all things football, is coming. GMFB Overtime. It's football for everyone.
Tonight at 11 p.m. on KGBT 4.1. I'm a Republican and a Trump supporter from South Texas. And I'm supporting Vicente Gonzalez for U.S. Congress because Vicente knows how to get things done by working with both parties.
Vicente Gonzalez is tough on crime and strong on the border. He makes sure we have the resources we need to do our job.
And Vicente's lowering prices for healthcare and prescription drugs. And working to create jobs for our kids.
I'm Vicente Gonzalez, and I approve this message.
The Maternity Center at South Texas Health System delivers compassionate care for you and the newest member of your family. At STHS McAllen and STHS Edinburgh, you'll find everything you need to make your childbirth a wonderful and memorable experience, including spacious labor and delivery suites, special amenities, multiple birth options, a breastfeeding program, and childbirth education classes. Our Level 3 neonatal intensive care unit offers peace of mind should your baby have specialized medical needs. South Texas Health System, where your pregnancy is our priority.
In South Texas, you keep your word.
That's why I can't vote for Monica de la Cruz.
She broke her promises to us.
Put our Social Security and Medicare at risk.
That's our money.
We worked for that.
Monica even said no to lowering healthcare and drug prices.
I am supporting Michelle Vallejo.
She's a small business owner
who will work with Republicans and Democrats
to bring down the cost for working families
and secure the border.
I'm Michelle Vallejo, and I approve this message.
In the days and weeks following this crash, not only were the victims' families and the survivors mourning this great loss, it also started a massive wave of litigation. Our Frank McCaffrey spoke to one lawyer who got some of those settlements for those families, and as well as other survivors represented by other lawyers who say that did more harm than good.
It was such a devastating accident that caused so much damage to so many families that it got out into the news immediately. Not as fast as what we would know today. By that time, we already had a very reputable reputation.
He represented clients who had injured family members. He worked to assist the family psychologically while they went through emotional times and educate them on the legal process. Reyna says it was not a difficult case from the liability side. Different types of settlements were won, but there was an issue.
You know, these were very poor families, very impoverished. And the question becomes is, because they were poor, do these families, do these children have their values less in life?
We spoke to two survivors of the crash whose families were not represented by Reyna. They received a large settlement amount. They say what they received as a settlement was not as much of a blessing as some might think it would be. Jones says she received more comments that were tough to hear.
Oh, you were in the bus accident. You have money. You in this. And it was like you were put in a position where it wasn't it wasn't a good thing to be in that accident, you know, because you were kind of seen as someone now who went through a lawsuit and you have money.
Alexander Reese De Leon believes he would have been in jail or dead had he not received his settlement money to build a better life. But there was more he was expecting. He believes the beverage company involved owes him a scholarship.
It's in the disclosure of your contract when you do with a settlement with a lawyer. They promised her, and it even came out in the news that they were giving everybody a scholarship.
And you never saw it?
No. And not seen anybody else get it. I've never heard anybody say or mention it.
Though Reyna did not represent either Reese De Leon or Jones, he remembers hearing claims that other lawyers took advantage of poor clients.
It's totally wrong. That's totally wrong. But the truth of the matter is, all the lawyers here in the Valley are good lawyers, good people. We care. And that somebody takes advantage of them, that's not true.
Regardless of these legalities or payouts, the survivors want us all to keep the memories of their classmates who died in the crash alive.
I give them a big hug, all of them. Come on, just hug. Big hug, all of them. Even if I don't know you, all of you. Just hug, pray. Sorry it happened, but a big hug, even spiritually.
The driver of the Dr. Pepper truck was known as Ruben Bettis, and at the time of the crash, he was just 26 years old. Just a month later, he was charged with 21 counts of negligent homicide. Fast forward to 1993, after a trial that lasted just over 2 weeks, Bettis was found not guilty on all counts. While prosecutors and the NTSB argued that Bettis was not paying attention as he approached the intersection, Bettis' lawyers argued that the brakes on his truck failed and the crash was not his fault. We reached out to Bettis' family to hear from them, but they declined to comment. We also reached out to Valley Coca-Cola for a statement after 35 years, but we did not get a response. Coming up, how the crash made it safer for students to ride school buses today and how new technology is helping.
Football hurts. I've got a plate and 2 screws in my neck to prove it. I was captain at Baylor. I get it. No pain, no gain. You gotta fight for it. What's Ted Cruz fought for? Himself. This is the guy who fled to Cancun while Texans were stuck at home freezing. He wants to raise the retirement age for hardworking Texans who depend on Social Security and Medicare. Now that hurts. I'm calling all red, and I approve this message because Ted Cruz only cares about Ted Cruz. I'm fighting for Texas.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks a new door to unlimited possibilities. Possibilities to bring you closer to the people and the places you love. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures with the fastest and most reliable internet. Connect to unlimited possibilities when you switch to Spectrum Internet Premier for only $30 per month when bundled, and save with our 3-year price guarantee and no contracts. Call 1-844-653-6824. With the fastest, most reliable internet, you're always front row to the entertainment you love, no matter where you are. And with advanced Wi-Fi to keep you safe and secure online, you can focus on what matters the most. Spectrum Internet doesn't just power your home. It puts streaming, live TV, sports, and popular apps all at your fingertips. Get incredible savings when you switch to Spectrum Internet Premier for just $30 a month with a 3-year price guarantee. That's our promise to you. Call 1-844-653-6824.
Here in South Texas, Monica De La Cruz has seen firsthand the issues on our border. That's why in Congress, De La Cruz worked to provide Border Patrol the resources they need and led the fight to secure the border. Real leadership, real results. Monica De La Cruz will secure our border for our safety, our community, and our future.
I'm Monica De La Cruz, and I approve this message.
Since the Alton school bus crash, many changes have been made to school buses, not only here in Texas, but across the nation. Our Jeremiah Marshall breaks down the changes that have been made in school buses today.
After the crash, many laws were passed. One of those laws was called the Aggregate Quarry and Pit Safety Act, and it was passed in 1991. This law requires guardrails to be placed around any open pits near roadways. Any person or company who violates this law can face fines up to $10,000. And there are many new requirements on how the school buses are designed to prevent the severity of the Alton bus crash from happening again. Just 2 years ago, Texas passed a law that requires all school buses to have safety belts. Currently, school buses have extra safety features like a defense braking system. This is something that slows the bus down if the driver were to come close to another vehicle. But most importantly, there are more emergency exits on the bus, and this will allow for more passengers to evacuate the bus if the crash were to happen. We spoke with Raymondville ISD to walk us through their school bus design and safety features.
And on the inside, we have eight exits in case of emergency. You got 2 on each side of the bus, that are the window latches, the back door, roof latches, 2 on top, and if needed, the front windshield can be kicked out in case of an emergency to exit the children.
And to add an extra layer of safety, Raymondville ISD has a school police officer accompany a school bus whenever students are being moved. School districts across the state of Texas take time each year to visit their campuses and train all students on how to evacuate a bus in case of an emergency. And of course, to see more details on these changes, you can find them on our website. That's at valleycentral.com. In studio, I'm Jeremiah Marshall.
Coming up, we speak to a mother whose son rode bus number 6 but missed the bus that day on September 21st, and she lives right down the street from where this crash happened.
I'm a Republican and a Trump supporter from South Texas, and I'm supporting Vicente Gonzalez for U.S. Congress because Vicente knows how to get things done by working with both parties.
Vicente Gonzalez is tough on crime and strong on the border. He makes sure we have the resources we need to do our job.
And Vicente's lowering prices for healthcare and prescription drugs. And working to create jobs for our kids.
I'm Vicente Gonzalez, and I approve this message.
Tomorrow, a News Nation exclusive. They were the most powerful men in the world. But how do these presidents stack up against each other? Best-selling author Bill O'Reilly spotlights America's chief executives.
You're bringing them to life.
Ranking the best.
It's the Taylor Swift of masculine men.
To the worst.
If I were in a time machine, I'd go back and slap him.
And we'll reveal Bill's pick for the greatest of all time. Leland Vittert hosts Confronting the Presidents. Tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only on News Nation.
When a medical concern needs a closer look, count on the nationally recognized imaging services at South Texas Health System, including round-the-clock options with limited wait times at our 6 freestanding emergency departments. Our facilities feature advanced equipment offering 3T and open MRIs, 640 slice CT scans, 3D mammograms, bone density screenings, cardiac CT screenings, and more. Plus, the interventional radiology labs at STHS Edinburgh and STHS McAllen handle a wide range of minimally invasive procedures with minimal pain and downtime to help promote faster healing.
No matter how hard you try or how far you go, you can't ever leave it all behind. They're always with you. The stories you've told, the ones you never could. This is a story I don't tell.
Special Agent Gibbs. Ready to catch some bad guys?
NCIS Origins premieres CBS Monday, October 14th. Part of CBS Premiere Week and streaming on Paramount+.
Since this tragedy, 35 years later, not only has this memorial served as remembrance to the 21 young lives that were lost, but it also serves as a constant reminder to what happened here for those who live right down the street here. Our Daisy Martinez spoke to one mother who says this crash has left a lasting impact on her life to this day.
Olga Puente lives at 1510 Main Avenue in Alton. This has been her home for the past 50 years. It's just yards from the crash site. Her son Marco Antonio Puente was 14 at the time and a student at Mission High School. He too rode bus 6 to get to school every day.
Sí, era la ruta donde se iba, siempre.
But on that day, a twist of fate had other plans.
Se fueron en el carro de su papá. Fueron a dejar a su papá al trabajo y de allá se pasaron para la escuela.
A random change in morning routine, Olga says, spared her son's life.
Gracias a Diosito lindo que no iba allí.
Olga tells us she was at work at the nearby Levi's factory when they got word of the bus crash. Many parents rushed out. Word also quickly spread throughout town. Olga knew her son had not gone on the bus that morning, but her in-laws and sister didn't. They rushed to the scene on foot, walking for miles, going through blocked-off streets, thinking the worst.
Sí, mi suegro se trajo un mecate y sacó. Y mi suegro estaba preguntando por mi hijo, porque sabía que en ese. Y entonces sacó un amigo de mi hijo y le dijo, no, Marco no venía con nosotros, no se subió en el bus.
Her son was alive, but 21 others were not. Like many in town, Olga wasn't immune to the grief. And till this day, she says she feels the children's presence all around her.
Me sentí muy mal, mija, muy mal. Es demasiado porque todavía lo siento bastante, porque aquí desde que pasó esto, hay ruidos en mi casa. Hay ruidos. Y se cierra una puerta o se abre algo. Pero yo ya estoy impuesta. Son los niños. Porque ahorita, para este mes que viene ya, que septiembre empezando, comienzan más los movimientos.
And even now, 35 years later, Olga says it's something she and her son don't ever talk about. It's just too painful. But she knows keeping quiet about it doesn't erase the fact that it happened.
Que parece que ayer fue esto, ¿me entiendes? No se olvida, nomás, pues, tú sabes, con el dolor, viviendo con el dolor que pasó la pobre gente, ¿me entiendes? Y te pones a pensar y no lo puedes creer cómo puede estar pasando cada año y no, ¿me entiendes? No recuerde y recuerde.
It's always there, in the back of her mind and down the road, marked by the 21 crosses.
The families of the 21 still come out here to this day to replace the ribbons here on these crosses. This happens every year during Mission High's homecoming week. Now, we did ask the survivors, knowing what happened on that sunny September day, would they still get on a bus number 6? As tragic as that event was, the survivors we spoke with said they would still get on that bus, simply because that crash helped them become the people they are today. and they were able to tell this story for future generations to always remember the 21.